What? They could not. I'm good.
Okay, there we go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Atlantic Bushcraft Adventures. Tonight we are on episode 371, I think is what we were saying there, and we're talking a little bit about Lone Star ticks. So as I was saying before, Eric pointed out that I didn't have sound, because for whatever reason, every time I open OBS, it changes my mic from my boom mic to no mic. And you would think after like 100 times I would remember to check that. Still not. Anyway, yeah, so the Lone Star tick. A lot of people know about, the red meat allergy and stuff like that. And they know it's becoming more prevalent because they're in the media more and it's coming into a lot of North America where it never was before. And it's into Canada in a lot of spots that it's never been before. And it seems like quite the surge going up about these. So what I wanted to talk about a little tonight was to make sure, I'm sure people are aware they're out there, but they need to know a little bit more about the tick. And this is what I was telling you before we started up. Even you seemed a little surprised by some of the stuff I was telling you about this tick. Because the Lone Star tick itself, it's like the apex predator of the tick world, if that makes any kind of sense. And that's kind of what I wanted to get in here tonight, is why you should be aware of it and why you should take the precautions that you do, because it's always good to take the precautions when you're going out in the woods. We say that all the time. But especially with this one, because it's a little quirky. And that's where I wanted to go with this. Might not be a long episode, but I think there's a lot of good stuff that we should hopefully educate some people on, especially our brothers and sisters that go out there into the woods and they're going to be banging around into this stuff. So we should talk a little bit about tick safety in general and specifically why to be alert of the Lone Star tick, because I think there is a little lack of knowledge on some of these things, and maybe not. Maybe those folks out there are reading everything and getting themselves quite updated on it, and that's awesome. And if not, hopefully we can condense it and give you the important pieces that we need. So, have you had any experience with the Lone Star tick yourself there, Ben? Have you ever seen one or anything like that?
I don't think I have seen one. I'm not sure what type of tick I took off the dog this week, but it was a tick. And I got it off and disposed of. I think it was fairly fresh. But yeah, I have looked at some of the stuff. I know some of the precautions you should take for sure. And I try to stay up on all that stuff. And, there's some serious risks with all this stuff, right?
Absolutely. So, I'm going to jump right down the rabbit hole for those that aren't aware about the Lone Star tick and why we should keep an eye on it. Because this is where I started off with you, Ben, was one of the things about the Lone Star tick, like I said, it's kind of the apex predator of the tick world. Most ticks, and let's talk about most ticks right now before we get into the Lone Star ticks, the way a tick normally attaches to somebody or how it becomes attached to anything really is generally ticks are a passive feeder or a opportunistic feeder kind of deal. Generally, they are going to stay on low-lying branches, on tall grass, things like that, and they just kind of sit there and they dangle their legs out. And they wait for something to brush past them, and then they latch onto that because they can sense the CO2 and the body heat, and they'll latch onto that body, and then they'll crawl around. They'll find somewhere that's generally going to be out of the way, usually darker, warmer, moister. So like like under your armpit areas, in along the side, inside of your legs, back of your knees, things like that. That's where they kind of tend to pop into. Not that you can't get them anywhere. I've had them up under my beard and pulled them off my face. Like, they will go anywhere, but generally that's how a tick works. They just kind of sit there, they wait, they brush up against something or something brushes up against them, they latch on, they crawl in, and then they attach and do their thing. And with most of these ticks, and I do say most because there are some exceptions, they have to be attached for a certain amount of time before they're technically infectious. Now, any kind of tick that is attached to you, I still recommend that you pull it off and you keep it for a little while in some alcohol, clean the area, watch for rashes and any kind of infection. It is a puncture wound, keep that in mind. But generally, even when it comes to Lyme and a few other of the bacterials, they have to be attached long enough for that bacteria in general to become activated in their gut, and then it regurgitates out through their saliva glands and then goes into your blood. So they actually have to actively feed for some amount. Just because one bit you, the chances of getting something from it are generally fairly low. And I think we can agree on that, Ben. You and I have said this in the past, correct?
Yes.
And I think it's no exaggeration to say that between you and I, we've probably had hundreds of ticks attached to us over the course of our outdooring careers. You know what I mean? But we do all the proper things. When we go out, we wear light colored clothing. It's easier to see them. They tend, and I don't know if it's true or not, but some people say they tend to deter away from light colors. I don't know about that, but I do know it makes them easier to see.
Yeah, I had one guy test that because he heard like bright colors. They stay away from that too. And he had like a bright orange and a bright yellow cooler, and he said that that was covered in ticks. So didn't
And that's
didn't
the thing. I don't know about the color itself. All I know is the lighter colors, it makes it easier contrasting at the very minimum. That I will self admit to. So I go for like tannish colors, like lighter tans. And ideally it's better for the warmer weather anyway because it's not going to absorb that UV as much. What is your recommendation for removing them? So we have a question from the comments there, Ben. I know you're pretty good at this. I'll let you take this one. What is the recommended way for removing a tick, sir?
So I use a tick tool. I've removed quite a few, mostly from dogs and others. I have much less tick exposure than directly than, but I use a tick tool, and you hook that underneath its mouth bits, and you get kind of whole body above it, and you gently turn it in one direction, pulling very lightly, and it will back out and come with it because it doesn't like that. And that is the best way. You don't want to squeeze them, you don't want to pinch them, you don't want to cover them in Vaseline. These are all things that people recommended for a while. The problem is if you do that, it spits stuff into you before it releases. So you kind of want to get it to pull out as quick as possible. And when you do get it out, you want to inspect the area as best you can to make sure there's no pieces left in, because sometimes it leaves part of its mouth or its body inside of you. So you want to watch that and try to get any green pieces that do get stuck in there removed out if you can. And then what I try to do is sterilize that area as soon as possible. A little bit of hand sanitizer or something like that, just to kill anything in the area. And then keep it clean and, like you said, monitor it. But yeah, there's a lot of bad ideas out there. I've heard people talking about like trying to heat up, like putting something really hot on it, putting something super cold on it. All these things have been suggested. I don't know if any of them are good, but the highly recommended method is simply a tick tool. And they come now. I mean, I have a knife with one in the back. It didn't work out as good as I wanted, but just the cheap ones, I think they're like a buck 25 at
I
the
was going to say,
pet store.
usually I have one on my desk for demonstration, and I have no idea what to do with it. I think it's actually in my gear. I think I actually moved it over there. But anyway.
But keep it, whatever you use, like if you can get a good tick tool, keep them readily available. A lot of them fit right on a keychain. A lot of mine have a hole for doing that. And that's the perfect place for it because you always know where your keys are and you get it really quickly. Um, I just knew instantly I have an open L knife with one in the back, and I knew where that was. So when I needed it the other day, that's what I grabbed. But stuff like that, you want to keep the tool readily available so when you find it, you can get it off quickly. And like you said, ideally you have a small Ziploc bag or a pill container you can throw it in, and then you can help use that to get them identified.
Funny enough, I still have my last little friend sitting on here waiting for my 30 days. So,
yeah. If you take two pieces of tape or one piece of tape folded over, you can just jam it in there, and that'll keep it from moving or doing anything. And that's a good method.
Yep. So if you are going to store it in a jar like I have down there, a little rubbing alcohol, isopropyl 70 plus, you're usually pretty good that way. That'll kill them off. Put them in water. Ticks are a really hard thing to drown, believe it or not. They can last a long time in water is all I'm going to say. In the event you don't have a tick removal tool, you can use a set of needle nose tweezers. Same deal, get in close to the head, pull up lightly in a constant motion. That was the go-to method here in this household for ages until we got a couple of the tick removal tools. And since we did, we've actually moved on to those and love them. But yeah, needle nose tweezers are the original way, and tick removal tools are kind of the modern, easy way if you can get a hold of some of those. And like Ben said, they're readily available and dirt cheap. Grab a handful of them, throw them everywhere. I carry one in the cubby hole of the truck, in the car, the bike. There's one in my gear over there. I mean, it's You find them at the dollar store. I don't know how good the dollar store ones are. I grabbed the ones from the outdoor place, but I think those were still only like $3 or $4. They weren't terribly expensive.
No, they're not, and it's worth having. I think I bought one as a set of three, and each one's slightly different size, so that comes in handy. Ticks come in many sizes, and that's something else to keep in mind. The smaller ticks are much harder to find. The bigger ticks are a little bit more evident. Uh, and ticks tend to have a preferred host. So certain ticks prefer deer and certain ones dogs and certain ones people, but that doesn't mean they can't transfer. Like some will still, they find a host, they will climb up. They will test the waters type deal. So
Absolutely.
keep that in mind.
And
Yeah.
something you said was really important: the size of ticks. During their life cycle, ticks go vastly in size. They start off almost smaller than you can actually see with your eyes. You know those tiny little spiders that you see running around that are almost like pinpricks? That's the size a tick generally starts out as a nymph, and then it'll grow. Then it goes through, a couple other stages, and all of those stages, they generally still attach and drink blood, and they can still carry bacteria too. So you have to be very thorough. So the best way to do this is regular tick checks, and that phrase should be a common thing in your house if it's not already. Anytime we go out, like just today, I had Lily out to the river to go swimming, and when we got back, the first thing she said was tick check. And you know what I mean? We check each other. Take your time, check in behind the ears, inside the earlobes a little bit, go up through the hair where it's hard to see. For somebody like myself that has a beard, get a comb, go through it all, look through it, down your arms, in the creases of your arms, all over your back, basically 100% of your body. Leave nothing untouched because ticks don't get embarrassed. Keep that in mind. They will go wherever they think they need to get a warm meal and be out of the way where they won't be noticed. You know what I mean? Or where they won't be chafed or rubbed off. That's why they tend to go into crooks and creases and things like that. I've seen them in the back of knees. I've seen them in between toes. I've seen them in belly buttons. You know what I mean? Like they will go everywhere. So a good thorough check of your whole body. They recommend throwing your clothes in the dryer for, 10 to 20 minutes on high heat and then put them in the
Yeah.
washer. Because if you put them straight in the washer, the tick doesn't necessarily die in the water and now it may run around your house. And I have seen that. You know what I mean? I have seen where they've like fallen off the dogs and stuff like that. And you will see a fully engorged tick walking across the room. This hasn't happened in many years because since we've gotten the smaller dogs and ticks have started gathering more bacteria, we do regular tick checks on the dog too, which is another good point. Everything that was out in the woods, you, family, and animals all should be checked because they can just stay on the dog on the fur. And now if the dog sleeps in the bed with you, they crawl off the dog and now they're lashed onto you, which I'm 90% sure is how I got the one up in my beard last year. You know what I mean? So yeah, good thorough checks. And we've talked about some of the other stuff in past episodes, so just quickly to go over it. DEET, some spray-on stuff. There's permethrin, it's like a neurotoxin to them. It doesn't deter them exactly. It doesn't necessarily deter them, like make them go away, but after a couple seconds of being in contact with it, it neurologically shuts down their body. So it's kind of good to double up on some of these things too. If you're into like natural oils and stuff like that, do a little research. There's some debate there as to which ones work good. I posted a good video up on our Facebook page there once, a little short reel that showed a couple of the main common ones like tea tree oil, peppermint, cedar oil, and then permethrin. And there were some great results with that. But yeah, double tier it. Something with DEET works really good. I don't know how our keratin does with it. I know it's the new big one because it's a lot safer, a little less chemically. I don't know how it works as a deterrent for them. I haven't done any active testing on it myself, but they do say it repels ticks on the container. What's your thoughts on that, Ben?
I really don't have any exposure with it. So, perthrum I have used. I have not seen any problems with it. I've watched a lot of reviews on it. I did pick up the product. I tested it on one of my tents. I'll probably take it on my next trip. And I was just thinking, I got the dog has a whole bunch of these handkerchiefs. I'll probably do those up one day while I'm out and leave it to dry. With perthrum, if you ever do use it, you more or less soak the material you want with it or spray it well, and then you leave it to dry. You do not handle it until you dry it.
Exactly. Definitely read all the labels on anything you're going to use and double it up. Like I said, if you use permethrin on your clothes, maybe spray a little DEET on to keep them deterred. And then the ones that get by, they react with the neuroagent. Tucking your stuff in. A lot of people think it's funny when they see me go into the woods because I'll take my socks and fold them over my pants or tuck my pants into my socks, whatever you want to call it, and then I'll tuck my shirt into my pants. And that just makes it so the ticks have to climb all the way up before they can get to any part of your body to start, munching on you. And you're more likely to see them because you're less likely to see the stuff from your waist down because you're going to be tromping through stuff. Let's not kid each other. And it's real easy, especially if you got like your pants baggy. They can just crawl up. They attach to your legs. You don't notice them until you get home. Versus if you have everything tucked in, yeah, you may look a little goofy. If you think that's goofy, I think it might be a fashion statement. But anyway, at the risk of looking a little goofy, it gets those ticks up to where you're most likely going to see them at your working level. You know what I mean? So the best cure is an ounce of prevention. Is that how that saying goes, Ben? Something like that?
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. And then the thorough tick checks and all that good stuff. So that's kind of ticks in general and how you can deal with them. Now let's get back to the Lone Star tick here. So why does the Lone Star tick stand out when it comes to the other ticks? Well, remember back at the start how I said most ticks, they just kind of sit there and they wait for an opportunity to jump onto you? Not the Lone Star ticks. So Lone Star ticks, and I know I'm going to say this so much I'm not going to be able to say it right after a minute. They have eyes. Most ticks, no eyes. Lone Stars, they have eyes, and they actively pursue and hunt prey. So here's where the problem comes in with Lone Star ticks, especially for those of us that are out in the woods. A lot of us, once we make an area and it's been cleaned and everything's been swept down, we say, oh, hey, this should be an okay area. Not so true with the Lone Star. Once it catches a whiff of the carbon dioxide and stuff coming off your body, it will actively track you. So an area that has been completely beaten down and even in the dirt, if you're sitting there or whatever, or sleeping on the ground and things like that, they will actively come after you and try to latch onto you. They can see you for one, though their eyesight is not terribly great. They still have some sort of eyesight. Excuse me. And like I said, they actively go after their prey. They're not a sit around and wait for the meal to come to them. They're going hunting. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what makes them a little more unique and a little bit more risky. It's not just the opportunistic ones that if you put DEET on, oh, hey, I don't want to attach to that. These suckers are coming after you. They're like, ooh, I smell dinner. I'm going to go find it. And then they will start going after you. And where this is bothering a lot of people is hunting and things like that, where you're sitting for a while and you're waiting. They go in, everything's good, and then all of a sudden they'll be like sitting there and they'll have like 5 or 6 ticks trying to crawl up to them. And they're like, well, where are these things coming from? And that's generally what it is. It's like the Lone Star ticks and things like that. It's not always a Lone Star tick, but they are the ones that can see and will actively hunt you. Like they're an aggressive tick. They are the apex of ticks. So we have to keep an eye for them. More so now because of like alpha gal, you know what I mean? It is the red meat allergy. And this is why everybody's worked up about these things, which is, we should be worked up about all ticks and anything that embeds into your skin like a parasite. But this is what makes those Lone Star ticks stand out. Like they will track you down, they will bite into you. And the other thing is, with alpha gal and a lot of the other bacteria that are transmitted through like the Lone Star tick, it's the initial bite. They don't have to be engorged. They don't have to be feeding on you for that long. Literally, the second they embed into your skin, there's the potential you can catch this virus. You know what I mean? Because it transmits differently than the bacteria. With the bacteria, say in Lyme disease, which is one I'm more familiar with, they actually have to ingest blood. It goes into their stomach. It activates the Lyme, and then it has to go back up through their bodies and out through the saliva ducts and into your body. There's a process. Unfortunately, with the Lone Star ticks, it's literally right there the second they bite them. It's viral versus bacterial, you know what I mean? So I think it's viral. I'd have to look that up. But anyway, it's a different transmission method is what I'm getting to. It's more vector-borne than injection-borne. Vector and injection, I'm using the wrong words here, but help me out, Ben. What am I trying to say, man?
Man, I'm leaving this to you. You got it.
Actually, you know what? Is alpha gal bacteria or viral? It is, just so I know I'm getting this. It's an alpha toxin. Okay. So yeah, it is a bacteria, but it's a faster acting bacteria, all that good stuff. It is into the initial bite, like I had said. It's not, this is where the worry comes in, regardless of the transmission method. It doesn't have to be on you for long. So once again, these combative methods that we use to stop them from biting us in the first place become even more so important. You don't want them even getting settled in. So you want the permethrin to, kill them as they're falling off. So if you do your clothes and everything is tucked in, say you spray DEET around your socks and stuff and your shoes, that deters them from coming on. If they get by that, well, they have to crawl all the way up your pants and past your shirt. By that time, the neurotoxin will probably have done its job and they'll probably start falling off you. You know what I mean? So you kind of do the layered effect. Now, here's the thing. I understand. I already hear the eye rolling and saying, well, it's hot. I don't want to wear that. My rebuttal, for what it's worth, I agree, it is warm. I am the one kind of person that if it was legal, I would be a nudist 100% of the time. I hate the feeling of clothes. I like the freedom. I feel you. But I have not met a shower yet or found one on the planet that'll get rid of a bacterial infection. You know what I mean? They'll wash sweat off all day and make you cool, but they're not going to get rid of a bacterial infection. Much the same thing I say about motorcycle gear. You know what I mean? No shower on the planet takes away road rash. No shower on the planet's going to get rid of a bacterial infection. Once it's there, you're toast. It's easier to wash away sweat than it is to start trying to go through the process of no longer being able to eat a lot of foods that you like to eat before. And it's not just red meat, because I can hear people say, well, I don't eat steak anyway, no big deal. Well, what about cheese and things like that? You know what I mean? Anything that has that protein in it, you can no longer eat. And you would be surprised what food actually comes with that stuff in it. You know what I mean? Like it's a very common protein in a lot of foods, especially prepackaged foods and things like that. So you're basically down to you're making all your own meals and you're reading ingredient lists very carefully.
One thing I guess could briefly talk about. Yes, there's that. The chemicals and stuff. Some of the natural things, like if it's an area you're going to spend a lot of time in, there are some pet slash farm animals that can really help combat that. Ironically, chickens, guinea fowl, things like that will eat a tremendous amount of ticks. They are the natural predator of ticks.
You might be able to correct me on this. One guinea fowl can clear almost an acre of land from most ticks.
Yeah, they're brutal.
It's crazy. I know ducks are a close second.
Yeah, I know that they're brutal, and I wouldn't have believed it, but I had chickens, and chickens aren't necessarily as good. But I tell you, nothing lived near a chicken that the chicken didn't want living near it. So if it's seen an insect, they were brutally fast and brutally efficient at taking them out. And so to the point where we used to throw grubs in there just to see how fast they would get to them. And we had these ones, I don't know why, they were more of a black chicken. I don't know what breed they were anymore. But we said like the black ones didn't even let it hit the ground. Like some of the other ones were kind of lazy. They'd get to it when they got to it. But these guys would like tear out of their it was like they could see through the wood. Like they'd come around a corner, like they would be in the house, and they come right here.
So. Oh yeah, no, that's the thing. Even chickens, like you said, chickens are a great way to start, because a lot of people want chickens nowadays. Cost of eggs, it's a good gateway into farming. But if you don't want chickens, like my wife hates chickens, absolutely terrified of them. She said we can get ducks. Ducks are a good follow-up. Guinea hen or guinea fowl are the best. The drawback to them is the noise.
Oh, they're loud.
They are a noisy poultry.
But I will live with the noise if I don't have to deal with ticks. Like that is an easy trade for me.
And funny enough, right here in my area, we're pretty good for ticks and stuff. Not that they're not here, but the neighbors on almost all sides of us have birds.
Yeah.
So we don't have a lot of ticks in this area where I'm at. They're here, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't say we have none, but the population's pretty low. We don't get a lot of ticks here, especially where I got the backyard fenced in now and the deer don't go through there. Like, I'm pretty confident to let Lily out there without bug spray, and she probably won't get a tick. I'll still give her a tick check, don't get me wrong, but it's probably going to be unlikely because there's nothing taking them in currently. Now, that being said, I am in Nova Scotia, and when I was in Upper North River for Paintball for Kids, the fundraiser I run in the spring, this is in May, we found Lone Star ticks there. And I mean, they were the classic white spot, no denying this is a Lone Star tick. And they have been found throughout the province and other spots too. There's been a couple people already in the media that have gotten alpha gal, you know what I mean, or alpha gal, however you say that. But anyway, they have contracted the disease here in Nova Scotia, doing nothing more than working in their own gardens.
Did I tell you about the concept somebody had shared with the toilet roll paper and dryer lint?
No.
So this was a suggestion I'd read a while ago. Somebody suggested it. You take all your dryer lint and you spray it with pyrethrum, and then you stuff it in paper towel rolls and you hide it around your property. And what they figure will happen is rodents, squirrels, rats, mice, things like that, maybe others, will find these, take the little pieces of lint home, build their nest with it, and then if the ticks get on them or try to get to them through the nest, they will get exposed and it'll kill them off. Because one of the biggest perpetrators or spreaders of these types of diseases are small rodents because they get the ticks, they carry them around, they drop them off in other places, and that's how they reproduce and get different places. So the counter to that, of course, would be to kill them at that level. So if you can't have something that's going to hunt them down and kill them, then you do have these rodents. And honestly, if you have land, you have rodents. There's no getting away from that. There's something living there. And that's fine. It's healthy. But this is a possible method to reduce the amount of ticks in an area. So it's something to think about, you know?
Yeah, no. And there, once again, I encourage people to do their research. There are certain plants and things you can get that they say will deter them.
Deter them.
Yep,
Yeah.
I've seen the border method where they say to take mulch and do like 3 feet off a mulch border around your property and sprinkle in what is it, denatured earth or something like that, that Damascus earth or whatever it is. That fine
Yeah.
powdery stuff, and the way that works is it is super abrasive to bugs, and as they crawl through it, it basically shreds their bodies to where they can't breathe anymore. I know it sounds a little brutal, but you know what? Better them than me in this instance. We're far
So
outnumbered.
we use that with the chickens. You throw some of that stuff in there, and exactly, it gets into their joints and cuts them open, and they just basically they die out. So it does help keep away ticks and lice and other creepy crawlies that can build up on your birds, and it does help. So yeah,
Yeah, and
we kept
perfectly harmless to us. It just feels like a soft, chalky powder more than anything.
yeah.
Last I think I touched it. I don't know. It's been a while since I've been exposed to it, but I know you can dip your hands in it. You're not getting shredded, but it is very sharp, glass-like jagged edges, almost on the not microscopic level, but almost microscopic level, and this just tears apart insects. So yeah, you can do like a 3 foot perimeter around your property with mulch, and you sprinkle this in, and basically that makes an impenetrable wall unless they get on a animal and run through it that way, which that means it's not impenetrable. But anyway, there is options out there to deter you. But don't let it scare you. You know what I mean? Get out there, enjoy the outdoors, still have your fun. Just be careful doing it. Put your sprays on, use your natural methods, use the tuck methods of your clothes. Be more aware of where you're walking. Try to stay away from the areas that are going to be, more populated because they're still going to stick to the same areas that most other ticks would be. So you're going to look for, shrubbeach, long grass, low limbs, stuff like that. Try to stay to open trails and stuff if possible. And then when you come home, tick check, throw your stuff in the dryer, run it through, get a shower right away because, what you might not see with your eyes, you may find as you're showering. And just have good habits. Good habits go a long way here. Not just for the Lone Star tick, but for pretty much any creepy crawlies that's going to be out there in the woods. You don't know what could be hiding on your body. Like I found a spider crawl out from my hair like hours after getting home, you know what I mean? And it was just there chilling out. It happens. So you never know what could just be hidden on you. Get into good habits of getting yourself cleaned up and checked out as soon as you get home. Like we said, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. That's the saying I was trying to come up with earlier. Any final thoughts on this, Ben? We are kind of coming up on our 30 minutes there. And yeah, like this was supposed to be just a quick public service announcement more than anything, and we still got our show out of this, much as we do.
I think it's Fuller's Earth, isn't it? Fuller's Earth.
Could be. I can't
Denature?
remember. I panicked and I took a guess. What is it?
The Fuller's Earth. I'm trying to remember. I know we used to use it.
I thought it was like it's powdered white earth is all I know.
Powder.
Dia
Diamond.
Diatomaceous.
Diamond. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. DE Earth. I'll put it in the caption for anybody that's looking for it. Because
Diatomaceous Earth. Yeah.
Yeah, never ask the dyslexic how to say anything because guess what? It ain't going to be right. But otherwise, yeah, folks, like get out there, have fun, still do your things. Just be careful. That's all. That's just, you know what I mean?
Just be aware, educate yourself, do your best to protect yourself. Honestly, no matter what you do, you run the risk. My dog hasn't even been out in the woods in the last few weeks, and it still managed to pick it up in the lawn outside of a very,
And
rural
that's the
area.
thing. You'd be surprised where you're going to get them. They're everywhere. Ticks are everywhere. They're bugs. You know what I mean? Bugs are everywhere.
Yep. To get out there, enjoy it. Hiding in your house won't necessarily protect you, but you will miss out on the better things.
Yep. You may be safer at home, but you know what? Nobody had any fun being sick. Well, I shouldn't say that. You know what? I'm going to leave that alone. I'm scared of what might come out of my mouth, so I'll leave that alone. Honestly,
so I'm going to throw this out before you get yourself into trouble.
Yep.
We did talk before, so I'm not sure what the next couple of weeks will entail.
I was just about to move on to that. You go for it.
Yeah. Me and Robert are both going to be doing some vacationing, some wilderness adventures, I think, for both of us. I think that's a safe assumption. And we expect to have limited to no internet for much of the trip. So there may be a couple week hiatus where we just take a break. It's not that we don't still have passion to do this and interested in doing it, but it is that we are going to have limited connectivity for it. So yeah, I wish everyone a good couple of weeks. If you don't hear from us, if it turns out we are available and we check in on each other around those dates, if we can, we will still post something. But no guarantees for the next few weeks.
No, and I'm still going to try and post some photos, some of the adventures and stuff like that. You'll probably see some stuff float around Instagram and Facebook. But yeah, I think it's important for us to spend some time with our families and just disconnect for a bit. So instead of trying to work this into there, and if it does happen, like Ben said, absolutely. But at the same time, I think it's good for, let's just take a little bit of time and not have to try and prioritize the family a little lower than the podcast. You know what I mean? Through the vacation. We do that all year round, folks. And we love it. Don't get me wrong. We love doing this. It's a lot of fun. We're passionate about it. But at the same time, we still gotta, we gotta do a little with the families too. And that's just it. We're putting them a little bit higher priority. If we can get into the podcast, absolutely awesome. If we can't, we'll keep some updates in there and keep you guys interested, but we haven't forgot about you. We're just going to enjoy some of our own stuff there. And then, like Ben said, I know most of the places I'm going, I don't even think the phone will connect for a second, because I'm going to like the waterfalls and places like that, and there's no cell reception there. Well, I guess if I go way out back to the motorcycles where we parked there, we got one bar, was it?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things. We're just going to take the time this year, enjoy our vacations. We'll post some pictures and stuff. If we can make it happen, great. And if we can't, we'll be back very shortly. We're not disappearing forever, just for a little bit to enjoy some time with the little ones before they're not so little anymore.
Think for yourself. I'm not taking no little ones with me.
Ben's taking the dog and running to the woods. I already know his plan.
Hey, all.
Night, folks. We'll see you next time we see you. Maybe next week, maybe not. If not, stay tuned for updates. Night, folks.